of this sector.
We have told the vice president, who is the chairman of the NCP, supposedly, we have told him the implication of these illegalities. And we have told him clearly, in a clear term, that they are putting the country into a problem in the next near future. Nigerians are complaining of the exercise on power company, Discos and Jincos. People didn't pay up the money they're supposed to pay for the concession agreement or for the privatization. We know all the problem of the power sector, and they are not addressed, and because mistakes were made in the process. And the same mistakes are being repeated by this government.
The airport is one of the latest of the concessioning projects. The federal government had announced that it would begin with the 4 major airports in the country in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt and Kano, with emphasis that the airports will remain properties of the government.
It's just like you have a 1.5 bedroom flat on 7,000 square meters that like we have in Ikoyi, and you're collecting 2 million naira rent from that house. If somebody comes to you and says, okay, give me that 7,000 square meters that you have, I'll put 14-story, 28 flats in that place. And when I finish, I'll be giving you, instead of 2 million, I'll be giving you 10 million or 20 million per annum. And I'll continue to take rent for 20 years. And then later I bring back the asset to you. And then you continue to own it. And that's concessioning. So as APC in government, we are thinking of the people first. We are social democratic in nature. And by concessioning, it means that somebody will come and take the airport, build a fantastic edifice there that will make you want to go to airport and live there. And then he makes money over 20 years. During the 20 years, he will be giving us some money. And later, he brings back the asset back to Nigerian people.
The process has already begun with inauguration of Project Steering Committee and Project Delivery Committee. Their duties, according to the federal government, is to approve action plans, budget, financial requests, and serve as the final decision-making body.
The NCP is not in place. That's number one. Number two, there was no any working mechanism within the system. It's done by the aviation department or agency, not by the BPE. It's very important for the federal authorities to understand the rule of law, and what should be done well. We are always in support of privatizing and commercializing and giving concessions for the public enterprises so that the government will be relieved of the burden of mismanagement, inefficiency in the public enterprises and the public sector, which is quite in order. But the bottom line is the government must work within the framework of the law, within the framework of the regulatory agencies of privatization and commercialization. The fundamental problem now is the absence of the NCP, the National Council on Privatization, which is the driving force. The secretariat is there, the BPE, but it's dysfunctional because there are any effort from the government side to engage them in privatizing the Nigerian airports and giving concession to the airports and some of those public sectors that they want to privatize or give concessions, like the refineries, Ajakuta, and so on and so forth. So the laws are in place in accordance to the 1999 Act on privatization and commercialization of public enterprises in Nigeria. So all the government needs to do is to follow the due process, follow up with the process in accordance to those enacted laws and acts. That's all the government must do, first of all. And to appreciate the fact that these laws were set in place just to ease the process. But the situation at the current stage is the government is given the ministries, departments, and agencies doing things on their own, which they don't have the experts to do it.
This conflict in following the rule of law, according to the chairman of the House Committee, has distorted the desired progress in the aviation sector. One of the evidence of this is in the public hearing by the House Committee on Aviation, during which one of the concessionaires at the Muritala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, by Courtney, tabled his grievances against the federal government and its agency.
When the airport was conceived, we had approval to build a hotel and conference center, which was delayed to the extent that we only recently signed a new agreement. A monorail linking the terminals, a fuel hydrant system beneath this apron of by Courtney is a comprehensive fuel hydrant system. which means that fuel is served from underground, not with bowsers, not with trucks. Every time you see a truck on the terminal in Nigeria serving petrol or fuel, it shows clearly that we're still in the dark ages when it comes to facilities. But we provided for it. But we were prevented from using it because till date, FAN has not given us the staging position for the fuel dump. A power plant. This for us is very sad. We proposed to build a power plant when MME2 was ready to provide power for the whole of the airport, including the Air Force Base, which we wanted to give power as social responsibility. FAN did not give the final approval, or government did not give the final approval, and government has proceeded to spend twice the amount of this power plant on generators. It is on record that FAN-operated airports, our prayers are simple and direct. One, comply with the laws of Nigeria. Two, allow MME2 to continue and conclude this development. Three, complete the handover of the GAT and the neighboring plot already allotted to MMA2. Commence regional flights for which there is approval. We have an agreement on this issue and have spent a fortune in complying with the requirements.
However, Mr. Babalakin's prayers may not come that easy.
When we executed the agreement, he has a copy, we also have a copy. The dimension of the land was clearly stated and specified in that agreement, and that dimension did not include the GAT. On the issue of electricity, yes, if you look at the agreement, we have bills to be paid by Courtney. One of those items is electricity, which is to be supplied and is being supplied by FAN. Of course, it's a good idea if Courtney wants to develop an independent power project, but then we have to look at it as a separate contract altogether.